Hello, everybody. Here we are again, and I'm here. It's Tom,
Amanda? Christy?
and we are once again going to be talking about. Go ahead.
Identification?
Yes, identification.
Identification!
Yes, I almost had a little brain fog there. Yes, we're talking about identification today, and we're going to talk about our simulation that we had just the other day. And did you want to start?
Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So basically in our simulation we were given kind of like a little glimpse at these kids' lives. And
Yeah.
I think we all agreed that we wanted to see more.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, like some of the ones, they would give us, they were giving you like all the wrong information. Like they were talking about like a dad was an alcoholic and mom killed herself and all sorts of stuff. Like information that you totally don't need to know talking about gifted kids.
Yeah, and I feel like some of them we knew more about their parents
Yeah,
than we actually did about the kids.
Right.
I totally agree.
I think as a classroom teacher that might be useful information, but as part of a committee and trying to make just an identification, I think that
Yeah.
information was prejudicial.
And way
in a
too
lot of
personal.
cases. Personal,
Yeah.
irrelevant, and prejudicial because you're looking at, oh, this child is coming from a bad
Yeah.
situation. Oh, well, they can't be gifted.
But do remember,
something like that.
Dr. Beal said that even though that information won't be written down, a lot of times you're going to know that information
Right.
because if somebody on the committee is going to know that information. It is going to be prejudicial for some people. I mean,
Right.
I know personally, I don't think I'm very prejudicial, but everybody has a little bit of prejudice.
But Fredericksburg City, too, is so small. If you
Yeah.
think about our school system,
Oh,
that
yeah.
everybody knows everybody's parent, you've had interaction with somebody's
Right.
family, you know where they live, you know what the neighborhood is,
I mean,
Right.
you know if they're well behaved or not. We all know who the kids are that are in Miss T's.
I am a perfect example. I'm a hometown kid. I grew up here. Everybody knows me. I mean, like these two probably get sick of hearing them go, oh, Mr. Heaton, oh, Mr. Heaton, and all that because everybody knows me.
Yeah, but then it also made me think a lot about, like, your kid, when you were talking about your experience and how it teased all out at the end that they didn't accept one of your kids because they didn't have all the information. And I thought, as a committee member, when we all said this when we did our simulation, aren't you supposed to say, I need to go back and find this?
Right, right. I think that's an important thing, and that was one thing I noticed. We all felt like, we want to make a decision. We want to say yes or no, but none of us, I don't think on any of them, it was a flat out, oh, no question. I think we wanted more information on all of them.
The only one that we were even trying to show up was that first kid, and that first kid was I mean, he was basically the stereotype of nerd.
Right.
So.
Right, with the
But
high.
even then we were not sure.
Yeah,
He just did math.
we wanted to put him. Yeah, because I mean, he was like his math was off the charts. I mean, he made his own theorem at like the age of 10 or something like that.
Yeah, something published.
Published his own theorem at the age of 10, and came out to be true. Like he actually really did make his own theorem at the age of 10, which is unbelievable. But we didn't know enough about what about language arts? I mean, to be honest with you, like if you look at me, I mean, math and science and history, up through the roof. English, not so much. I mean, I was okay. I wasn't, but if you were going to say anything, I was probably John Q. average when it came to English.
Right, and that's the thing that we go, and this doesn't have a lot to do with it. Well, I guess it does have to do with identification.
Of course.
Is it your, task commitment to language arts that made you fail or not? Because maybe you don't, not fail, but not show the gifted side because maybe you don't care as much about language arts.
I never did. I never did. I really, I dreaded having to going to English classes. I literally dreaded going to them.
But does that mean you're not all the way around gifted, or does it just mean it wasn't interesting for you? Do you know what I'm saying? Like
that's true because most of the time I didn't have problems in English. I got decent grades in it, but most of the time I was just bored. I didn't want to be in there.
And that's like the other kids that we saw in there. Like, did they fail out of school because they didn't see any purpose and they're intelligent enough to logic their way out of why they need to be there?
Yeah, like the one girl who ended up conning somebody thinking she was like 16.
I think that was Eleanor.
I was not surprised that they were all, it turned out to be individuals that had done, great things.
Yeah.
And I think that is part of one of the issues that they face as gifted learners versus not labeled gifted learners is the expectation that if you're labeled a gifted learner, you're going to do extraordinary things. And if you're not labeled as a gifted learner, then you're not going to do extraordinary things. And that is clearly not the case.
Yeah, I mean,
you just don't know
right.
the potential.
There's people all the time that aren't exactly gifted, but yet they were famous. George W. Bush, he famously said, even a C student can make it into the White House, and he did.
Well, and that's like after that whole thing, after the identification, we saw who all the people were. Mm-hmm. I remember saying, and I think we had a small conversation about, well, that doesn't mean they're gifted. It doesn't mean that those people, just because you're famous, just because you did great things, doesn't mean you're gifted. You could be a bright student, a hard worker. Right. And so it still doesn't, we still don't have a definite.
And there were some, but some of them were truly gifted. I mean, like Albert Einstein,
well, obviously.
Yeah. and Thomas Edison.
I'm not arguing that, but some of the political figures.
Yeah, like Eleanor Roosevelt. I mean, she might have been just a bright kid. I mean, I remember in our group, we made her normative.
Yeah.
Right. So we said we thought that she was just John Q. average.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, she had decent scores, but she didn't have like great scores.
Yeah. Right. And her IQ was just regular, and just
her
performance and her interest and.
Right, and she did end up doing, some extraordinary things in her life, but, like you said, does that mean that she was gifted? Does it mean that she wasn't? I don't know. I mean, we don't have a
there's no definition.
And again, it depends on who you look at. It's the who you think, what do you think he or she is gifted? I mean, like, if you look at Gardner, I mean, like Gardner probably would have looked at every one of those kids and found something. Found something that was gifted in each one.
Well, that's if I'm saying, his theory is pretty much everyone is gifted.
Yeah.
Whereas people who are more on the numbers, or especially the theorists that had, stars and circles where everything kind of meet in the middle, would have probably not found as many of those.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have found any of them. Maybe, as I said, maybe the first one, but that was about it.
Right.
I mean,
because they didn't cross it. They had just one shine, just one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And maybe the last one, because the last lady had like the high figures and everything.
Oh, right. Oh,
I forgot.
I can't remember. Anyway, but she was like student body president and had a high IQ. Yeah, I forgot her.
Yeah. And
I will say that the simulation exercise just made me feel sad for all of, not just, those children that we looked at on paper, but it made me think about the children that we see every day. That giftedness might show through one way or at one time and not another. And it is, like all the theorists said, it is largely due to, circumstance and just chance.
And luck.
And who you
and
know.
luck plays a huge part in that. And that makes me sad because all of the children, they're perhaps not living up to and they're not being enabled to reach their full potential because someone doesn't see something that maybe someone else will see. And are they lucky enough to bump into the person that sees the giftedness and nurtures that and knows how to tweak it and help them develop it? So it just made me feel kind of sad for not just those children we looked at on paper, but the children we see every day. And how hard is it, to make an accurate identification, and how important is it? Because that determines this, the motivation we give them, the work we give them, the standards we set for them. It's difficult. It makes me feel like that's a really heavy responsibility. And
I think it's more and more on what we talked about, where it's appreciation,
Yeah.
teaching that child. And like we said before, the only reason why I feel like it's so important to identify is because it will help them in middle and high school
Right.
later on
Right, I agree with
to be with their learning peers. But other than that, I mean, here at the little end, we just have to teach to every kid.
Yeah, sure.
You know, but I feel that way too. And you guys haven't done placement yet, but at the end of the school year, we place all the kids, and you really feel that way because all you look at is their reading score,
Well,
their race.
Remember, I was here last year when they did placement.
Oh yeah, you heard it.
Yes.
Isn't it crazy?
It is crazy.
It's like gender, reading score, race,
Race.
and that's all they care about.
ESL and then
Oh yeah, if you do
ESL or GT.
GT, or if you're SPED.
Yeah.
And then they have to spread them out, and that's
Wow.
it. And you're like, but wait, this kid's temperament is that they don't care. That's how they do the
Yeah,
placement.
and yeah, race is big one,
And having even gender
yeah, even gender, yeah.
and even high, middle, low readers.
Yep.
Not stacking them too. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
Huh.
Yeah, it took like what 2 or 3 hours like for to get it all done.
It takes a long time.
Yeah, and that's just the first stage. They do it like
They don't even always take what we do and match it.
Hmm.
So,
and then there's
yeah,
parent
that's
requests and all
kinda
that
crazy.
stuff. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and cut it off right here, and we will see you next time.